Good evening, everyone. Let's try that again.
No, that's me.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Coatesville Area School District School Board meeting for Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. Agenda item 1B, reading of the mission statement. The mission statement, the mission of the Coatesville Area School District, rich in diversity and committed to excellence, is to create innovative educational experiences which are funded by the taxpayers, supported by the community, delivered by dedicated teachers and administrators to ensure all students will become responsible, contributing global citizens. Agenda item 1C, advisement. By notice of the President, board members are advised that all votes shall be recorded as roll call votes. The minutes should also note that public notice was given for this meeting in accordance with Act 93 of 1998, Section 1. School board meetings shall proceed in accordance with school board policy. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Rob Fisher.
Here.
Brandon Roan.
Here.
Harvell Brown.
Here.
Holly Charest.
Here.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Here.
Becca Harlan.
Here.
Mary Ann Harris. Here. Amelia Mills.
Here.
Jennifer Schott. Here. Alasia Hudnell. Here. Allison Shriver. Here.
At this time, I would ask that everybody please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Color Guard, please present the colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Moving on to agenda item number 2. To my colleagues, are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to this evening's agenda? Any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 3A, approval of the minutes. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the minutes for the February 23rd, 2022 school board meeting, subject to any additions, deletions, modifications, or clarifications. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Jennifer Schott.
Here. Or yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Rob Fisher.
Abstain.
Becky Harlan. Yes. Holly Charest.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Harvell Brown.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Agenda item 3B, approval of the minutes. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the minutes for the March 8, 2022 special school board meeting, subject to any additions, deletions, modifications, or clarifications. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Becky Harlan. Harvell Brown.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris. Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Jennifer Schott.
Yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Holly Charest.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Agenda item 4A, appointment of substitute superintendent. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors ratify the appointment of Dr. Richard F. Dunlap to serve as substitute superintendent of schools effective March 14, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Holly Charest.
Yes.
Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Harvell Brown.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris. Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Becky Harlan. Jennifer Schott. Motion approved.
Give me 1 second here. I'm moving awful slow. Agenda item 5A, public comment on agenda items. The board has requested all persons making comments on agenda items to list their name, address, telephone number, and motion items on the sheet provided. There is a 3-minute time limit per person. The board does not take action or discuss items not appearing on the agenda. The board values public comments and wishes to convey that although board members cannot discuss items that are not on the agenda, they listen carefully and appreciate and value input from the public. Ms. Lori Shannon Bailey.
Good evening. Welcome back, Dr. Dunlap. I was delighted when I got the email from President Fisher that you would be the interim superintendent. I'm sorry to hear about Mr. Hanna, but I was reminded of a comment that you made at our last in-person school board meeting before COVID shut us down, and you made a comment that left a resounding memory in my mind, and it was related to parents who are fighting at North Brandywine. And what you said was, we have to figure out a way to help this community. And I've had this conversation to Brenda George and others. We do have to figure out a way to help this community. And I'm glad that you're back because I think you get it. And I don't know that others get it. And I don't know what figuring out a way to help this community means, but I just know that we are a community that really needs help. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm looking forward to working with you, specifically in the board, to figure out what helping this community means. And to that end, I'd like to talk about the adjudications. I'm happy to see that we only have one adjudication. I had mentioned that all adjudications should be eradicated or rescinded. I do not believe that adjudications are the answer. I believe that our children that are stuck in these adjudications need help. I believe that the board is grossly incorrect in adjudicating our children. I have met a student who is indeed Hispanic, who has an IEP, who should have been given accommodations for academic support, who was expelled for 180 days in January and is currently not in school. So I believe that we are harming further our community with these adjudications. And I am deeply, deeply troubled and disappointed in this board and the way that we are handling with these adjudications. And let me just add that this particular parent was caught off guard. She did not know what was coming in terms of her and her students. So again, it's not the answer. We have the resources to figure out what the answer is for these students. Finally, Warner Associates, I see that we have them on our financials. I would ask the board, please, Board Member Finkbonner, if we could get maybe consideration to have them do a presentation for the board to give the public some idea of what they've been doing. I know they've been, we've been contracted with them since, Dr. Tashner, so it would be nice to just kind of figure out, how they're using our tax dollars. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon Bailey. Moving on to Agenda Item 6A, Executive Session. Executive sessions were held on February 21st, March 9th, and March 14th, 2022, for personnel reasons. Executive sessions were held on March 7th and March 21st, 2022, for legal and personnel reasons. Ladies, student representatives report.
It's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal.
Good evening. I'm Malaysia Hudnell, your senior school board representative, and I would like to start my portion of the report by announcing that tomorrow is SAT Day and Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Testing Day for 11th grade students. Both of these tests can now be used as one of the components for statewide graduation. We would like to thank the Board of School Directors and CASD administration for providing this opportunity for CASH students. On Tuesday, March 29th, parent-teacher conferences will be held, and students will have a day off in order to end the third marking period, meaning this will be the last marking period of high school for my fellow seniors. We would like to congratulate senior student Jalea Bowman Blanton. Jalea organized a basket drive with the Coatesville Area School District to create 150 baskets filled with egg dyeing kits, candy, and other treats for students from each grade, kindergarten to 5th, for each of Coatesville elementary schools. In order to spread joy to students in Coatesville community, this is how she helped. We thank everyone who contributed to this worthy cause. Donations are still being accepted through March 31st, and we ask you check the CASH website for more information on how to bring joy to our youth. Also, I would like to acknowledge the 6 students who participated in the Rotary Club of Coatesville this school year. Each year, the Rotary Club invites senior students to enjoy lunch, meet local business members of the community, and learn about Coatesville through guest speakers each week at their weekly meeting. Students are asked to give a give-back speech on their last visit. This year's participants are LeBron Bessick, Jillian Evans, Malik Lavalas, R.J. Rickaball, Nolan O'Hara, and Alasia Hudnell. CASH would like to give thanks to the Rotary Club of Coatesville for continuing this tradition. To conclude my portion of the student report, I would like to congratulate all of the students on their hard work throughout this school year and remind them to keep getting involved throughout the last marking period of our 2021 and 2022 school year. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Allison Shivert, and I'm the junior class representative. I'd like to start my report by discussing some of the extracurricular activities currently going on campus. This Friday, March 25th, CASH will host a talent show run by our senior class cabinet. Students will be performing and showing the community their many talents. Come out and enjoy the show. Tickets are $5 at the door, and all proceeds will benefit the senior prom. On Friday, April 8th, the CASH Student Council will sponsor the annual Veterinary Fashion Show during all lunch periods. Our wonderful male models will walk the red carpet in their prom finery. Student donations will be collected for the best dressed. All the proceeds will again benefit the senior prom. This event will usher in our prom season, which begins on Saturday 23rd, when CASH hosts the junior prom. The senior prom parade and prom will be held on Friday, June 3rd. We look forward to the wonderful traditions that make Coatesville prom so special. The spring sports season is currently underway. Scrimmages have already taken place, and games and meets are starting very soon. The spring sports schedule can be found online under the athletic tabs on the website. We would like to wish the CASH spring athletes best of luck in their upcoming competitions. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Ladies, as always, thank you for a very informational report. And Alasia, as a former Rotarian, let me express to you how important and how impressive it is for the Rotarians to spend that time with the students from the high school. So on behalf of all the Rotarians, I want to thank those students who attended those luncheons for being very positive ambassadors for our school district. And Allison, I understand that little birdie told me that this is a big weekend coming up for you as you have swimming state championships. Is that correct? Yeah. Good luck to you. Good luck. Okay, let's move on to agenda item 8A, Dr. Dunlap, Superintendent's Report.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Good evening, members of the board, parents, community members, students, Coatesville Area School District, teachers and administrators. First, on the superintendent's report for tonight, we have a presentation to recognize students from the intermediate high school, and Mr. Maloney will present some students before you and talk about their PBIS accomplishments. Mr. Maloney?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Dunlap, and our student representatives. I am Cliff Maloney. I am the principal of the Coatesville Intermediate High School, and tonight I am super excited to speak about our positive behavior interventions and support program going on at our school. Tonight you're going to get a chance also to meet some of our students and some of our staff members who have been integral part of this and also honored throughout the school year. We'll go to the next slide. All right, so PBIS, which is what, we have a PBIS team, and it's an evidence-based, three-tiered framework to improve and integrate all the data, systems, and practices affecting student outcomes on an everyday basis. And what we're looking to do is really make sure that students succeed, and we really emphasize the positive that's going on in school instead of just focusing on reaction and being negative. We want to catch students and staff doing the right things and letting them know about it and reward them. Next, please. All right, so what does it look like? So the students at the intermediate high school, we have a thing called ROCKS. It is respect, ownership, courage, and kindness. Students earn ROCKS on a daily basis. Teachers give them out, staff members give them out. We pass them out to the students, and then we submit them into our ROCKS box. When students get it, they get super excited. They want to come down, especially like the first time they get it. They're like, where do I put my ROCKS? We have to guide them into the ROCK box. So what does it really kind of look like? We're really trying to teach the students and staff what positive behavior looks like, and we want to remind them on a daily basis. When we do this, it really makes the school run smoother. It also allows them to know that when we do the right thing, it's a lot easier in life. All right, so as we said, we turn the students, the ROCKS in for weekly and monthly drawing prizes. And that's what our team does, and we collect prizes. So also at the end of every quarter, any student that's earned a ROCK is invited to a celebration. Our first quarter, we had an ice cream celebration. They were super excited. It's amazing how people get excited about an ice cream sandwich or even a Freezy Pop, but I know I made my way down there, and I was enjoying that, and it was awesome. Second quarter, we had an indoor recess in the cafeteria, so they were playing board games. We had our cornhole boards out. Pop-A-Shot was going on. So they really, really appreciate the opportunity to come down, and it gets a little competitive. It's crazy what checkers or even like Candyland gets competitive. In the third quarter, the students are hoping for a pizza party. And we haven't officially confirmed that yet, but we'll let them know as we move on. So I don't want to give out the big prize. All right, next slide, please. All right. So what do you get when you get selected here and your weekly choices? We have little stress rocks that students get, and we hand them out. They squeeze them. They like a homework pass. Who doesn't like to get a homework pass? A ticket to the game, one of our sporting events. They get time in the PBIS room during a Friday lunch. Obviously, icicle, popsicle during Fridays, snack bags, say in the morning announcements, and we get a fast pass for lunch. Monthly choice, they can earn T-shirts. DoorDash certificate seems to be a really big thing. They love to have food delivered to them. They really, really appreciate it. Lunch date with a friend or teachers. They like to sit in there. They also like to shadow the administration. They want to know exactly what we do, so we'll have them follow us around. Obviously, we don't put them in a situation where they don't need to make any decisions, but they see us and what the daily life is of a school administrator. Obviously, a $5 school store gift card is a nice one, and like a Wawa gift card, McDonald's. And the students really, really appreciate it when they get it. It's because they earned it, and we want to reward that. All right, next, please. All right, so we have PBIS team meetings monthly. It's made up of teachers, counselors, behavioral specialists, administrators. We meet twice a month to look at data and discuss intervention supports, things that we also need to change. What are some of the successes? What are some of the challenges? And then at the bi-monthly faculty meetings, the PBIS team reports out. And we tell about, what the PBIS team thinks we're doing well, things that we need to improve on. And obviously, the PBIS team did create our ROC, so it's respect, ownership, courage, and kindness. And initially, the PBIS train was trained initially by the IU. That's where we got the framework from it, and so it's been really, really helpful. Next. This is tough to see, and I'm definitely not going to go over every single thing, but this is our behavioral matrix. And you see, it covers the rocks, the respect, ownership, courage, and kindness, and it goes for classroom, it goes for bathroom, transition areas, the office area, and the cafeteria. And this is what the team came up with, what we expect respect to look like, ownership, courage, and kindness. Next. These are some pictures of the quarterly celebrations. As you see, you have ping pong there, operation, which is a lot more difficult than I remember. Cornhole, and as the students are going through that, we have some of them super excited about the ice cream. They all wanted pictures of them eating ice cream. Who doesn't? All right, so celebrating our students, we talked about this. At the end of the month, Mrs. Lamoth, she's in charge of this, our assistant principal over here. She empties the container that holds all the rocks, and then we start to sort them all out. Students that earn 5 or more rocks that month are tallied, and Ms. Lamoth sends out an email for the staff, and with the help of the administration, to determine which of these students should be selected for Student of the Month. Staff sends emails with details that support them, basically why they think that they should be the Student of the Month. Then our Student of the Months are announced over the announcement, and they're presented in our Monday morning messages. Families are called. We wind up taking photos with them, and then we get hung on our wall of fame, and the students are right there. And so every day the students see our Student of the Month. And it's a really nice thing. Students come in like, hey, that's me. I'm up on the wall because I did the right thing. And really, because I got nominated, my teachers talked about me. What am I doing? What am I doing right in class or in the halls, or what are they seeing? And our teachers and our staff go really in depth and put out a lot of information about them, why they should be Student of the Month. And it gets really difficult. There's been some pretty good in-house arguments on who owns it and who should be getting it. So it's actually fun, and it's a little bit challenging. Next, please. So here we have pictures of all of our students up there, Students of the Month. I think I wear that pullover a couple too many times. I think a lot of Fridays the pictures were. I might have to get something with a little vertical striping to me now. But the students look great. They're super excited, and these are obviously with. It was tough because we were trying to tell them to smile with their eyes. Next. All right, so what we have here, these are our students of the month. So we are going to be calling them up, and Mrs. Lamont and my team here, Dr. Austin and Dr. Cole, will be handing them out. So we call you up. We're going to have you come directly right over here. You're going to stand. We're going to get set up for a picture. We'll hold the applause to the end. This way we can one big applause. I don't want to tire anybody's hands out. Right, yeah. We are missing a couple. We do have some students participating in extracurricular activities. One student is fell a little sick over the last couple hours. But for September, Cameron Harrison, come on down. He called out sick. October, Simeon Wah, come on down. Dr. Austin, please follow directions. November, Zeta Raisin. Cheerleading is not here, participating in extracurricular. December, Emily Evans. All right, Emily. January, Olivia Miranda. I think she may actually be at dance. They're very active students. And February, Adam Clark, who was just on the baseball field practicing. All right, so we have 2. The 6 so far. Let's take a picture so far. Students, if you want to open them up. It doesn't look like you earned anything with just that. There we go. And if you could stay here, that would be great. Next slide. So we really think as you go through this, obviously we want to honor our hardworking students for all they do, but we also want to recognize our staff. Our staff is working tirelessly to support everybody. Countless hours doing the extra little things, and we want to make sure that they get recognized too. So every month we ask our staff to nominate colleagues to receive a diamond. Staff send emails out, and they send it directly to Mrs. Lamont. She starts gathering all the things, and then we start taking a look at who earned the most diamonds for the month, what was written about them, and then, so what we have is every month we have an Employee of the Month and 3 additional prize winners. The Employee of the Month gets their picture taken, hangs also on their Wall of Fame. They also get a special parking pass, and I go out and I wash their car for them. Not hand wash, but I take them out and we wash their car. It's nice. And then the additional winners get $5 gift cards, either Wawa or Dunkin' Donuts, for a special treat. So now if we move on to our staff who have been Employees of the Month. Next slide. These are our Employees of the Month. All right, great looking pictures. So what we'll do first, we'll go right through the, I do know their names. But I think Ms. Lamont doesn't trust me, so we'll go to the next slide. All right. September, I kind of forget her. Mrs. Lamont, congratulations. October, Mrs. Washington. I didn't see Mrs. Washington. She's going to try, but she's been coming in. She's been working through an injury, actually. November, Mr. Bookman, James Bookman. He is working tonight. December, Doreen Taylor, Nurse Taylor, come on up. January, Mrs. Barlip. And February, Mr. D'Angelo, come on down. Let's give them all a big round of applause. Thank you, everybody. Awesome job. So that concludes our presentation of our PBIS program. Once again, we want to thank our students and staff for really participating. I want to thank you for allowing us to present to you tonight. It's always a pleasure, and once again, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Maloney. Continuing on with the report, we have next month at the end of April a preliminary budget that's scheduled to come before the public and the school board for approval. We are continuing to work on the deficit, and at this stage of the game, the school district instituted last week a budget freeze, which we're still paying bills to continue to move forward with all school board approved purchases. School leaders will be able to make essential purchases up until March 31st. After this date, purchases will be on a case-by-case basis. Mr. Hanna had started a superintendent community partnership group. This past Monday we met. We shared information on the comprehensive plan and the results of the communication audit. We talked about several ways to strengthen communications in our district and how to include more members of our community in the discussions and partnering with the different groups that support the students in our district. We are looking at how to define partnerships through the school board policy on community partnerships, and we'll be looking to create a list of as many of the different community groups in our school district that support our students. I had sent out a letter to the parents and the staff members this evening, right prior to the board meeting, on addressing some of the issues that we are having on our high school campus. And until we thoroughly lay out a planned system of support to address this issue in the high school, I know that there have been some things that have come before the board, and we need to continue to research and see where we can go with those kind of supports. I'm referring to, I believe it's called Dads on Duty. But in the meantime, we still need to act immediately to support the students and the staff in the high school. This needs to be addressed. I don't know if all of these ideas will work, but we at least need to try. So some of the things that I've asked to take place, and we will be starting tomorrow with some of these things, and continuing on through the next couple weeks. Tomorrow I've asked for a meeting to occur between the Coatesville Area School District Police Chief, the Coatesville Area City Police Chief, and the Cowan Township Police Chief. Included in that meeting is the Director of Pupil Services and myself. We want to discuss communication lines to deal with proactive measures to prevent and support possible incidents in both the school district and the community. We want to support the high school while not taking away from other schools in the district. And we need staff members with the same principle of Dads on Duty, which is really an economy of force of adults in the building, to assist with monitoring the halls, lunches, and support students and staff with the day-to-day operations of the high schools. This is actually going to start on Thursday, March 24th, and will be in place through Friday, April 1st. We will reevaluate this method of support throughout next week. Now, we're looking to also develop a tip line for students, parents, and employees to share information anonymously with the district to assist in preventing further incidents, or to give information so that the district personnel can intervene. We're looking to set this system up through 3 different methods. This is a complex issue to try to tackle quickly because you have to have somebody that monitors those type of messages around the clock. We also have to have communication that actually takes those messages and then sends them to through the proper channels so the people that need to know that can intervene. So we have a program that's actually run by the Attorney General's office. Many of you might be familiar with this. It's called Safe to Say. And that is a confidential program where school districts throughout the Commonwealth are notified And people can report anonymously incidents that are going to occur or about to occur, especially if folks are intending to hurt themselves or others. It's a way to do that. I'll come back to Safe to Say in a second. The other method to do this is through School Messenger, which is our reporting system and messaging system that we utilize with our parents. There is actually a reporting mechanism in there to be able to do this, but again, we're still working through this process and have to find somebody to monitor this around the clock so that we can get these messages at an appropriate time to be able to deal with things. Our last measure is to develop our own text tip line. Our Chief of Police did reach out to the Attorney General's office today, and they are willing to work with us to provide us immediate pieces of information. How Safe to Say works is they triage the information. If it is immediate, Safe to Say will send that message to the Safe to Say team in the school district. That's made up of various administrators and our police chief. They then pass that information on immediately, and that occurs around the clock. However, if through the triage standards that Safe to Say uses, feels that it is not an immediate message, they will save that for the next day. There are some things, like if someone was reporting a fight or a fight that was about to happen, we probably wouldn't get that message to the next day. So the Attorney General's office has agreed today to be able to provide us that information immediately, but we still have to work through some things and make sure that that happens on our end, as their end as well. And then we also need to do a really good job of communicating this out. We are going to be conducting some class meetings with students by class at the high schools, and we are also going to be conducting student leader meetings at each of the high schools. As I said, a parent communication went out tonight, met with the faculty at the high school today. I'll be meeting with the faculty at the intermediate high school as well, and we're going to try to employ these methods to help reduce that violence that's occurring at the high school. We will keep you posted on this, and we will continue to look for other methods and explore things that have been presented to see what we can do to help assist our schools and our students with this. Mr. Fisher, that concludes my report for this evening.
Dr. Dunlap, on behalf of the entire board, first thank you for an informative report, and in addition to that, we are thankful that you are willing to substitute again within the district in Mr. Hanna's absence. So thank you on both the courts. Mr. Maloney and your administrative team, thank you for a very informative presentation. On behalf of the entire board, to the students, congratulations. Job well done. Job well done. To the staff, thank you. Thank you for what you do. One last question. Did you at least get a tire shine out of the car wash? All right, moving on to agenda item 8B, important dates. April 12th, 2022, 6 o'clock p.m., all committees and special meeting, Coatesville Area Senior High School Auditorium. April 26, 2022, 7 o'clock p.m., school board meeting, Coatesville Area Senior High School Auditorium. I see that we have we don't have, Dr. Dunlap, any special reports tonight? I don't see any on the agenda. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 10A, adoption of consent agenda. Recommended motion that the Board of School Directors approve the consent agenda items. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Committee meeting action items considered routine will be enacted under one motion unless removed for separate action upon board request. The purpose of the consolidated motion is to expedite governing board action on all consent items which are not held for discussion. Items that have been held for discussion by the governing board will be enacted upon at the time the item is discussed. For this evening, I would like to remove from consent agenda under 11, Finance Committee. I'd like to remove Agenda Item A, Financial Statements. Agenda Item B, Coatesville Area Teachers Association Collective Bargaining Agreement. And Agenda Item M, Human Resources Report. Again, that's Agenda Items A, B, and M. Under Education, I would like to remove Agenda Items F and G, Proposed Adjudications. Again, that's Agenda Items F and G. And under Operations, I would like to remove Agenda Item D, Health and Safety Plan Revision. Are there any other items to be removed from consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you call for the vote, please?
Andrew Finkbonner,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris, Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Becky Harlan, Holly Charest,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Jennifer Schott, Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Circling back to Agenda Item 11, Finance Committee, Chairman Finkbonner, please.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the financial statements, bills, payables list as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Mary Ann Harris.
Yes.
Becky Harlan.
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Harvell Brown.
Yes.
Jennifer Schott. Holly Charest.
Yes.
Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Letter 11B, Coatesville Area Teachers Association Collective Bargaining Agreement. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors ratify and approve the complete collective bargaining agreement between the school district and the Coatesville Area Teachers Association as presented. The President and Secretary are hereby authorized to execute the agreement, and the substitute superintendent shall ensure that it is posted on the district's website. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Finkbonner, I asked for this to be removed from consent agenda so that we could have the proper roll call vote.
Understood. See no additional comments, we'll call for a vote, please.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Thank you. Becky Harlan. Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Jennifer Schott. Harvell Brown.
Abstain.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Holly Charest.
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris. Motion approved.
Letter M, Human Resources Report. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the resignations, appointments, new positions, leave of absence, transfers, change of status, and corrections as presented. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. Finkbonner, if I could, please, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the retirement that we have on this evening's agenda. It is with regret this evening that the Board of Directors will accept the retirement of Donna Yanisevich. Donna has been a middle school language arts teacher for 35 years in the Coatesville School District. I remember when I was fortunate enough to be a colleague of Donna's way back at Gordon Middle School. And I remember when Donna came for her first year of teaching at Gordon. And she became an outstanding and excellent middle school language arts teacher. Affected many students, and she will be sorely missed by the Coatesville Area School District. So on behalf of the board, Donna, we wish you the very best. We wish you a healthy, long, and happy retirement, and job well done for the Coatesville Area School District. Thank you, Mr. Finkbonner.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Holly Charest.
Yes.
Becky Harlan. Mary Ann Harris. Jennifer Schott. Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner.
Yes.
Harvell Brown.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Ms. Mills, moving on to the Education Committee.
12F, proposed adjudication, student 100006589. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the proposed student adjudication for student 100006589. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Call for the vote.
Amelia Mills,
Yes.
Jennifer Schott,
Yes.
Holly Charess,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner,
Yes.
Becky Harlan, Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris, Brandon Roan.
Yes.
Motion approved.
G, proposed student adjudication for student 100132252. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the proposed student adjudication for student 100132252. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Call for the vote.
Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner,
Yes.
Amelia Mills,
Yes.
Jennifer Schott, Mary Ann Harris, Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Becky Harlan, Holly Charess,
Yes.
Rob Fisher.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Moving on to Operations Committee. Agenda item D, Health and Safety Plan Revision. Recommend a motion that the Board of School Directors ratify the revised Coatesville Area School District Health and Safety Plan as presented. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Once again, I removed this from consent agenda to see if there were any final questions or comments, and then give it the proper roll call vote. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Jennifer Schott. Brandon Roan,
Yes.
Andrew Finkbonner,
Yes.
Rob Fisher,
Yes.
Becky Harlan, Holly Charess,
Yes.
Mary Ann Harris, Harvell Brown,
Yes.
Amelia Mills.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Moving on to agenda item 15A, public comment. The board has requested that all persons making comments of public concern to list their name, address, telephone number, and topics on the sheet provided. There is a 3-minute time limit per person. Lori Shannon Bailey.
Good evening. In light of the 24 teacher resignations, I noticed that there were at least 2 or 3 teachers from, I know that the life skills teacher from Rainbow School resigned. And so in terms of the teacher resolution, and I know that Mr. Hanna had asked for any teacher retirements to come forward. So I think it would be worthy to explain to the public what your plan is to proceed with any teacher furloughs or terminations. 24 teachers is a lot. We did have 1 to retire, but it would be, I think, helpful for us to know for sure that we have sufficient and adequate teachers in our special education departments. So should I pause and let you answer? Okay, thank you.
There we go. Sorry about that. Thank you.
No worries.
So I know Mr. Hanna had asked for retirements. I actually have a letter that's going to go out tomorrow to staff members that if they're planning on retiring to let us know if they can to help us out, which will also help with the budget process.
Mm-hmm.
I alluded to the fact that the district is trying to, and the school board is working with the administration on trying to close the deficit and balance the budget. 2 years ago, we had to let go a lot of people in this district. To close a $9.3 million deficit, we are trying to do that with as minimal hits on those populations, both teachers and administrators. And trying to balance that budget, it's important that if folks are leaving and we are going to do this through attrition, we can move things around. There would be people not really losing jobs because people would be retiring. And so that's really what we're looking for with that. I know that the public will see this as it comes out and when the board is ready to present this, because we're still working on a few things, but we will actually be able to go through those types of positions and also positions that the administrative team has been working hard on reallocating to be able to provide resources at the high schools, middle schools, and the elementary schools. So that's where it sits right now. I know that we'll probably be coming out at the special board meeting and committee meetings, I guess that night, to really talk about and show the preliminary budget so that the public can see it. And then the board would then be voting on that budget by the end of the month.
Okay, that's good. But, you know, to think that we've lost 24 teachers is to me, it's sort of overwhelming, and to know that we have to lose more is even more disappointing. But I understand, you know, where you're going with this. And
when you say, I don't mean to interrupt you, but when you say 24 teachers, are you talking about teachers that have left off of board agenda items? Is that where the count's coming from?
From the HR report.
Okay, so when teachers leave, the district tries to replace those teachers.
Tries.
Yes. So
Okay.
they'll go through a process. Like I know there's some positions that the district hasn't been able to find someone because certifications are tough, and with the COVID that everyone was dealing with, it's hard to get those positions. I mean, I know that the district had a position for math teacher open, a science teacher open, that was very hard to fill. And it's not just the Coatesville Area School District that's experiencing that.
Right.
But when you see people leaving on the HR report, it doesn't mean that they're not being replaced.
Right.
Okay, where that comes into is at the end of the year, if you are doing any furloughs, that's where you would see that, and you would see that in the budget presentation.
Okay.
But I can tell you, in working in the short time with the administrators and the board on the budget, you are not going to see what you saw before.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, so my next question has to do with Board Member Harlan. I believe you mentioned that all of the adjudicated students are indeed provided with the necessary support systems in terms of their education. And I know you mentioned the Lincoln Center, and I know you encouraged me and the public to tour the Lincoln Center. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe the board approved 20 slots for the Lincoln Center back in October of last year. So we have upwards of about 35 students that are adjudicated. So I'm not suggesting that all of those students have IEPs, but my concern again is that all of these adjudicated students are getting the support that they need whenever they need it. Again, adjudications are not the answer, and I will always continue to say that as long as God gives me breath. Thank you very much.
So I think as you're referring to the supports, I know that Ms. George has been working hard with those students getting those type of supports through the Learning Center, and the Lincoln Center. And I know that there are other things that the Pupil Services Department is trying to provide students with more supports. This district cannot get enough supports for the needs of the students. So they are working with that, and they've done some things with that Lincoln Center to expand it.
Unfortunately, 20 slots is not enough, and that's the major problem. If we had more than 20, that would be helpful. Well, again, I am talking with the student and helping a student to try to get back into school. The student does have an IEP. It's very sad and very, very disappointing. So I talk with Brenda frequently. I know she's trying. I'm very supportive. I'm, trying to be encouraging. But again, adjudications are not the answer, and I'm very, very sorry that we're at this juncture. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon Bailey. Moving on to agenda item 16. To my colleagues, are there any additional board members' reports this evening? Seeing none, moving on to agenda item 17, information items. To my colleagues, you will see a myriad of ARs listed there. And at this time, if there are any questions or concerns that need to be asked of the administration, now would be the appropriate time. Seeing none, I will ask for a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Second.
Did I get? Thank you, thank you. We will adjourn at 7:55.
You were right. I told you. Yes, adjudications are